Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Okay, so today we are talking about mindset. I love talking about mindset. It gets me excited. But anyway, we're going to be talking about mindset. We're going to be talking about abundance, scarcity, and mindfulness. So when we get to the mindfulness part, it's going to be more like tools that you can use to start making the transition from a scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset. And I'm going to go over what both of those are in just a moment. I decided to do this topic today because I recently, this past weekend on Saturday, went to Yoga Fest, NEPA Yoga Fest, which is actually really awesome. If you guys haven't been there, I was invited to do a talk on an abundance mindset, and I just, after preparing it all and giving the talk, I thought it was good information, and that I should definitely share it with you guys. So that's what I'm going to do today. And it was funny that I was at Yoga Fest to do a talk on an abundant mindset, because when I went, or when I was invited, I was offered 2 tickets to bring family. And I thought to myself, well, there's not anything for my family to do there. They don't do yoga. I do yoga here or there with my girlfriends, but it's not anything that any of us practice regularly. Although we probably should, it would be good for us. But so I didn't bring them, right? Which was really a thought of lack, which is a scarcity mindset, right? There isn't anything there for us to do because it's just yoga. I really thought that it was just different types of yoga in different areas. But it turned out that I showed up to Yoga Fest and there were pools, there was a wave pool, there was a lazy river, there were areas that people were doing meditations, there were areas that people were, of course, doing the given yoga. There was poetry, there were informational and educational talks, there were tents selling things like not just the yoga clothing or yoga gear, but there were tents selling things like different types of essential oils and educating people on how, they're an alternative use to medicine and, in relaxing ourselves or, treating different things. But anyhow, there were all of these things going on at Yoga Fest. And if I would have thought of it more abundantly, I would have thought of those things and brought my family. So it was actually really ironic that I was there to give that talk. So an abundance mindset, what is that? How many of you know? So when we actually Google or look up the word abundance, you're going to find definitions like overflowing fullness or plentiful. But what does that translate to when it comes to mindset? And what it really comes to is that you're viewing the world with fullness and as plentiful, right? I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with him. He's a really popular author. His name's Deepak Chopra, and he's actually been on Oprah. I did a 21-day abundance challenge on Facebook with some of his work. He has awesome work. But anyway, the way that he defines an abundance mindset, I think, is completely on point. So I want to use that. Hi, Donna. Okay, yeah, so I want to use his definition of an abundance mindset, which he has here as true abundance is the experience in which all our needs are truly met and our desires are spontaneously fulfilled. Okay, when experiencing this, we feel things like joy, happiness. We have good health, a sense of purpose. Through an abundance mindset, we have overflowing fullness that infuses every facet of our lives, right? So we can identify some of these things. Some examples of areas that we have these things is when we experience the joy and laughter of a child, when we experience things like being awoken by the sunlight that fills the room, that's a feeling of abundance. There's also a feeling of abundance when friends and family show up for us, or in nature's glory. This is probably my favorite part of his examples because I'm really in tune with nature. It offers me serenity. And we do find abundance in this. We find it in the amount of trees that are all over the place. we find abundance in, you know, fields of flowers, I believe was one of his examples, in the forest, in wildlife. I also have noted here that, you know, he said in the number of grains of sand on the ocean shore, right? Or even just the ocean in general, right? How many of us have stood in front of the ocean and just, like, you have that feeling of abundance. It's, you know, the world it reminds you of how big the world is, how abundant it truly is. You know, and what I love is that he then brings it back to us, right? In his definition, he says, even in our bodies, we find abundance. Our bodies are composed of billions of cells, right? And this is so true. Everything that we look at, there's an abundance of it, right? And then he says this, he says, in nature, the universe, and us, there is no such thing as scarcity. You know, and if we're really paying attention and we're really honing in on this, that's so true. There is abundance absolutely everywhere. Yet so many of us look at the world through a lens of scarcity, right? So what is a scarcity mindset? Scarcity is defined as a short supply of. Right? So when we're looking at things through a scarcity mindset, we're going to be looking at things through thoughts of lack, right? We're going to be looking at it as though there's never going to be enough, right? And you might hear yourself saying things like, oh, I never win anything, right? You might hear yourself saying things like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, or, oh yeah, well, they can do that, but I can't. I'll never be able to do that. I can't do what they do. Or how about this one? Yeah, I wish. Must be nice, right? How many of you have said that yourself? Right? I know I have, right? Or what about I always mess things up, right? These are all thoughts of scarcity. There's also thoughts of scarcity when we look at things like, thoughts of comparison, when we're comparing ourselves to other people. Those are thoughts of scarcity. Thoughts of scarcity also show up when, we're competing for resources, right? I used to see this all the time back when I worked in a sales department. I didn't do sales, but I worked around a lot of salespeople, and there was like this competition for accounts that would happen sometimes, right? That is a scarcity mindset. Or something even more relatable is the mindset that we all just recently had, right, at the beginning of COVID-19, right before quarantine, right? How many of us raced to the grocery store and stocked up on absolutely everything that there was? I mean, we knew that the prior week there was absolutely no shortage in supply of food or paper supplies or toilet paper, right? But everybody went out and bought like 80 rolls of toilet paper and all of the dry goods that they could, and and they put as much meat that would fit in their freezers, right? And it's because we were all looking at everything through a lens of scarcity. It was because we felt uncertain. We had no idea what was going to lie ahead, right? And that's when we see those things happening, that's when we know that we're looking through the lens of scarcity, right? And it's not always necessarily true, right? When we're looking through that lens, the things that we experience are things like fear, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, right? Or even anger, right? And then when we're feeling those kind of things, how does that show up for us? It shows up as conflict. It shows up as withdrawal, avoidance, or a complete lack of engagement. It results in struggle, okay? And I want to talk about struggle for a moment, because struggle is something that we label as bad, right? And a couple of episodes ago, I guess, on my Wednesday live show, right, I had actually spoken about all of the positive that we can draw out of these things, but there's a metaphor or a story. It's actually not a metaphor. It's a real thing that happens. So there's a story that I want to share with you guys about struggle, and it's actually the metamorphosis of a butterfly, right? So so a butterfly is originally a caterpillar. We all know that, right? And it cocoons itself. And then it goes, through its transformation, and it emerges as a butterfly. That's what we all know, right? If we actually watch this happen, it takes a while for that butterfly to get out of that cocoon. It can take days, right? So it's struggling, it's slowly breaking its way out. And if we were to actually go up to that cocoon and we were to snip the rest of the cocoon open and let the butterfly out of the cocoon, help it out, it would come out and it would have a swollen body. It would have withered wings. It may live, but it's more likely to die when it comes out, because the weight of the wings is weighing it down, you know, and its whole body is swollen. And even if it does live, it's going to be dragging its wings the entire time. When we let the butterfly actually go through the struggle, when we let the butterfly actually emerge from the cocoon on its own, in its own time, we allow it to go through its rest periods and, you know, find its strength, that butterfly then emerges with fully developed wings and it flies, right? What we don't realize that's happening is that struggle to get out of that cocoon is what forces the fluid out of the caterpillar's body into its wings to give it strength to fly, right? So the struggle is very much so needed, you know, in order to develop that strength, in order for it to go be a butterfly and fly, right? This is very literally something that happens. It's the way God created the caterpillar. So I mean, and I absolutely love that, because I think that if we relate that back to ourselves, if we look at those moments of struggle, we can see an abundance, right? If we have that abundant mindset, we can see an abundance of opportunity within that struggle, right? We see the opportunity to become stronger, right? The opportunity for growth. We see the opportunity, like I spoke about in that other live show, we see the opportunity to, you know, visit our values and see what's being pressed against. We have the opportunity to find where we really do need to draw a new boundary. There's so much that we can, you know, take away from those moments of struggle. They're not necessarily bad. They're there to help us grow, right? So, and that's how an abundant mindset would really look at it. Yeah, so anyhow, so how do we break that scarcity mindset, right? What is it that we do in order to get to this place of an abundant mindset? You guys have heard me speak about gratitude over and over again. By practicing gratitude, we truly take our focus from lack to abundance, right? There's an abundance of things to be thankful for every single day, right? And they can be small things, right? Like I'm going to tell you something. I have a bottle of water here, right? This nice cold bottle of water for a hot day. And that's something that I'm grateful for, right? Because I remember back in my early 20s being extremely broke. I was driving this like broken car. It didn't have AC. It was 95 degrees outside. And that's all I wanted was a cold bottle of water. But spending $1 at the grocery store was something I didn't have at that point in time. Right now, I have a whole case of these in the refrigerator, and that's something I'm grateful for. And I don't forget that, right? So being grateful for all of these little things, you know, being grateful for not being in a moment of struggle, being grateful for the fact that it's warm outside. Or yesterday, I was grateful for the rain because it has been so hot and sticky and it finally cooled down. I mean, there's these little things. And then there's, of course, the big things. We're grateful for the people that we have to love, right? We're grateful for the roof over our heads. It's all over the place, guys. So practice gratitude. Another thing is the comparison thoughts, right? They are very literally thoughts of lack, thoughts of scarcity, right? When we're comparing ourselves to other people, stop comparing yourself. When you catch yourself comparing yourself to, or your situation to another situation, know that you're comparing apples to oranges. We all have different journeys. We all have, you know, different variables that are at play for us. You know, these are, you cannot compare yourself to others, right? And you can very literally stop that thought process by telling yourself to stop, right? In your head, you can say stop, or you can even say it out loud, right? If I'm driving in the car and I find myself doing that, I'll say out loud to myself, stop it, right? That's not going to lead you anywhere good, right? So yeah, stop those thoughts of comparison. Bring awareness to your thought patterns, right? So I think it was last week that I spoke about unconscious thought patterns, all right? So, I mean, we have these thought patterns that we've developed and we just kind of do things out of impulse, right? And it's just, yeah, if we bring awareness to that, and be mindful about it, we can start to, identify those patterns. And that's when we can actually stop those patterns, by saying, okay, well, what is it that I'm thinking about right now that's making me feel down? I'm comparing myself to, so-and-so, but what's true for them isn't true for me, right? So bringing awareness to the fact that we're having thoughts of comparison, bringing awareness to the fact that we, say things to ourselves like money doesn't grow on trees, right? I've heard that statement my entire life, and it's the way that I used to look at it, right? And then I heard somebody else say, there's a whole ocean of money up there. Some people go up to it with a pixie cup, and some people go up to it with a bucket, right? We get to choose what we want to bring, right? And I said, well, heck, I want to bring a bucket, right? But I never thought there was a whole ocean of money out there. I always thought it didn't grow on trees, right? There was a lack of it. I didn't think of it as there being an ocean of it, right? So that kind of changed the dynamic, right? So if there's a whole ocean, then maybe I'll take a little bit more because I'm not taking away from other people, right? Yeah, so it's, hi, Lauren. So these things are things that we need to bring awareness to. And by bringing awareness to that, by stop, comparing ourselves to others, by practicing gratitude, those are the beginning steps to really start to make that transition from the scarcity mindset into the abundance mindset. I think that covers everything for today, guys. I hope it was informative for you. As always, you do know that I'm here if you have any questions. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching services at all, I'm here for that. I have a group challenge coming up. It's my Building Boundaries in 14 Days. I'm going live on the 17th. Registration will go live on the 10th. So that's super exciting. I think that's everything. And you can reach me at nicoleann.life. That's my website. That's my page. You can message me right here on Facebook, or you can email me at nicole@nicoleann.life. Okay, so I think that's everything. And I'd love to hear from you guys. I want to know how these mindsets show up for you and how the information I'm offering you is helping you. Also, let me know, some of the things that you want to hear, you want to know about. Okay. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.